Wait, something about student loans?
Well, just the stories about how a bunch of 1,300 schools, the government couldn't collect $1 billion worth of loans or debt from them, and that there was some people on the inside that raised flags and said like, "Hey, you're not pursuing these companies as severely as you're pursuing all the student borrowers. So there really is an unequal playing field here. Like you'll use collections agencies to rain harassment on people to get them to pay their student loans and garnish wages. But these big institutions that skirt their bills, like there are plenty of fines and fees that haven't been paid. They're just piling up. They just don't care. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of like it was a very small article about the imbalance there, which I just thought was interesting because you know
Huh.
it's
2008 bailout.
it's just that they care more about the schools than they don't care about coming after the schools for the money. More so, they care about the individual borrowers. And I just
Mhm.
with the number of calls asking for there to be debt, not only debt suspension being continued, but also for there to be debt cancellation and forgiveness as a whole. I just think it's a very interesting debate about what side you're on it, and I think there's a lot of good arguments on both sides, but I definitely think schools will continue to get more expensive as long as we keep giving people free tickets to buy. And then if we hit people with huge loans and we suppress them with them and say, here's, 50, 60, 100, $200,000 worth of loans. Yeah, you went to college, but you're going to have to start your life off with that kind of debt. I think it definitely weighs down. The average payment's like $400 to $500 a month, and the average borrower owns over $10,000, with many people owing more than 100K. So it's just, if you've been following student debt, that's just an interesting little, kind of look into the system, being like, hey, what's going on under here? Like, look, more inequality. No, no shit.
So,
Mhm.
so as someone who
Come
has
from the
student
government.
debt, does this benefit me in any way? As is
No,
this
it
the
doesn't.
start? No.
No, it doesn't. The thing that's going to benefit you as a student borrower is that there's potential for, and it calls for obviously for forgiveness of student debt as an entirety of an abolishment of the entire system, which again has a downside because you need to help people pay for schooling. But the argument is, well, free tickets have caused schools to price up themselves into insanity because they know the government will pay for it. So it's kind of a weird kind of cycle there. But if you're a student borrower with this, what will be helpful is that they may be continuing the suspension of debt into the next year, into March 2022. That's what's currently on the table that they want to push, but they haven't. So as of now, everything still starts coming due again in October, but that's something they're talking about. Is like, okay, let's suspend it again for another year. Which I
Interesting.
don't know if that's even a good thing either, too, because then you have 2 years of people not paying loans and those debts pile up, and even though you're not incurring interest, more people are still taking out student loans. So I don't know. It's a very we'll have to do a whole podcast on it. It's a
Yeah,
huge
definitely,
topic.
definitely.